The greatest empire on earth lost a war against a baby hidden in a basket. Moses did not simply escape Egypt, he became the man whose name would outlive. The empire that tried to erase him, a single child hidden among river reeds, would one day stand before the most powerful ruler on earth and demand the impossible. Whether every detail unfolded exactly as later tradition remembers remains fiercely debated, but the story transformed civilizations, laws, and faith itself. Yet the greatest mystery begins long before the sea opened. A frightened mother wrapped her infant in a small basket coated with pitch and placed him among the reeds of the Nile. The river that carried Egypt's wealth now carried its greatest challenge. According to the biblical account, Pharaoh had ordered Hebrew baby boys killed to control a growing population. Instead, the current delivered one child into the household of the very ruler who feared him. Raised inside royal walls, Moses grew up surrounded by polished stone halls, painted temples and golden statues. While somewhere beyond those walls, his own people labored beneath the burning sun. History remembers the rescue, but what shattered that royal life? Everything changed with a single blow. Moses saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew laborer and struck the Egyptian dead. The desert swallowed the evidence, but not the consequences. When the killing became known, the prince who had lived among palaces fled into endless wilderness, exchanging polished marble for scorching sand and royal privilege for isolation. Egypt disappeared behind the horizon, and with it every certainty he had ever known. But exile was only preparing him for something far more terrifying. Far from the Nile, Moses built a quiet life as a shepherd in Midian. Mountains replaced pyramids. Silence replaced palace intrigue. Then, according to the book of Exodus, fire appeared without consuming the bush that held it. A voice called his name and commanded him to remove his sandals because the ground itself had become holy. Moses hesitated, questioned, and resisted. He claimed he was not the right man. Yet the mission remained unchanged: return to Egypt and confront Pharaoh himself. Few moments in history or faith carry greater dramatic weight. But how does a shepherd challenge an empire? The palace doors opened once again, but this time Moses entered not as an adopted prince, but as a messenger carrying an impossible demand. Let my people go. The request threatened labor, wealth, and royal authority. Pharaoh refused. What followed became one of history's most famous chains of disasters. Rivers turned to blood in the biblical narrative. Frogs covered homes. Darkness swallowed the land. Hail battered fields. Locusts devoured what remained. Historians continue debating how these events should be understood: miracle, natural catastrophe, literary theology, or a combination of traditions. But their impact on human imagination has never faded. Yet none of them would be remembered as the final blow. Night fell over Egypt with unbearable silence. According to Exodus, the final plague struck the firstborn throughout the land, while Hebrew families marked their doorposts with lamb's blood as a sign of protection. Grief echoed through palaces and humble homes alike. At last, Pharaoh relented. Thousands prepared to leave the land where generations had lived in bondage. Smoke rose from cooking fires as families gathered hurried possessions, uncertain whether freedom or disaster waited ahead. They marched into darkness, but Egypt had not spoken its final word. Freedom lasted only days before dust appeared on the horizon. Pharaoh had changed his mind. Chariots thundered across the desert, closing the distance with terrifying speed. Trapped between the Egyptian army and the waters before them, escape seemed impossible. Panic spread through the camp. Then came the moment that would become one of the most recognizable images in world history. Moses stretched out his hand over the sea. According to biblical tradition, powerful winds drove back the waters through the night, creating a path across the seabed. Whether interpreted literally, symbolically, or through proposed natural explanations, the image of walls of water surrounding fleeing refugees has echoed across centuries. But what waited on the opposite shore? The wilderness offered no celebration. Hunger arrived first, then thirst. Every victory over Egypt gave way to new hardship beneath relentless skies. Complaints spread through the camp. According to the biblical account, manna appeared each morning like frost upon the ground, while water flowed from a struck rock. Survival depended not on fertile rivers, but on trust. Every step carried the people farther from slavery and deeper into uncertainty. Yet the greatest encounter still lay ahead beneath a mountain wrapped in cloud. Thunder rolled across. Mount Sinai, lightning flashed above black stone as smoke rose like a furnace. The people remained below, while Moses climbed into the cloud alone. According to Exodus, this was where the covenant between God and Israel took shape. The 10 Commandments emerged not merely as religious instruction, but as the foundation of a new identity. Laws governing worship, justice, family, and community would influence civilizations for thousands of years. Yet while the mountain burned above them, something astonishing unfolded below. Impatience proved stronger than memory. Believing Moses had vanished forever, the people gathered their gold and fashioned a calf for worship. Music filled the camp, while the mountain still shook with thunder. Moses descended carrying the stone tablets and witnessed the celebration. In anger, he shattered the tablets at the foot of Sinai. The image remains unforgettable. Divine law broken before it had even reached the people. Forgiveness would come only after crisis, reminding generations that freedom without discipline could collapse into chaos. But the desert still demanded another test. Years passed beneath blazing skies. The promised destination remained frustratingly distant. According to the biblical narrative, fear repeatedly overcame confidence. Scouts returned describing fortified cities and powerful enemies. Many wanted to return to Egypt rather than face the unknown. The consequence was severe. An entire generation would wander until it passed away, leaving the land to their children instead. Camps rose and disappeared. Graves multiplied beneath shifting sands. Hope survived, but only through endurance. Then Moses himself faced an unexpected judgment. At Meribah, the people once again cried out for water. God instructed Moses, according to the biblical account, to speak to the rock. Instead, Moses struck it with his staff. Water flowed, but so did consequences. Because he had failed to uphold God's command exactly as instructed, Moses was told he would never enter the promised land himself. The leader who confronted Pharaoh crossed the sea and climbed Sinai would guide others to the border, but never cross it. One moment changed the ending of his own story. Yet history had one final scene prepared. An aging Moses climbed Mount Nebo and looked across the Jordan Valley, toward the land his people would inherit. The journey that had begun beside the Nile ended with a distant view. According to Deuteronomy, he died there, and the location of his grave remained unknown. That mystery has inspired centuries of speculation because no monument, pyramid, or royal tomb marks the resting place of one of history's most influential figures. The man who challenged Pharaoh vanished into silence, while the nation he led continued without him. Whether approached as sacred history, theological narrative, or a blend of memory and tradition shaped over centuries, Moses left a legacy unlike almost any other figure. Judaism remembers him as the greatest prophet. Christianity sees him as the giver of the law that foreshadows Christ. Islam honors Musa as one of its greatest prophets. His story has inspired revolutions against oppression, shaped legal thought, filled art and literature, and echoed through countless generations. Yet historians continue debating how the Exodus relates to archaeology, chronology, and ancient Egyptian records, ensuring that some questions remain unanswered. Perhaps that uncertainty is fitting. Empires rose with monuments of stone, but the child once hidden among river reeds became something even harder to erase. A story that refuses to disappear.